Good morning, young folk. Great to see you with us this morning. Thank you so much for being here and for listening in. Here's something has been happening this week. This sign that you see on the screen, hopefully you can read it. It's been sitting right at my gate all week. What on earth is going on? Are they trying to keep people from getting into my house? You'll know what's going on if you live on the Townhill Road, because they're resurfacing the whole of the Townhill Road. And in fact, those three signs, which you'll not be able to read, I'll tell you what they say. Just moving up from my house, the first one says ramp, which means there's a bump and it'll damage your car if you go over too quickly. The next sign says temporary road surface, which means the whole road is really rough at the moment. And the third sign says caution, raised ironwork, which means there are little manhole covers sticking up out of the road. And if you hit one of those, you're going to wreck your car. So the road is in a really, really bad state at the moment. But the good news is that they're going to give us a lovely, new, smooth surface. It's going to be just great to drive on and to cycle on. It's going to be a lovely surface. You know, when somebody very special is coming, like a king or a queen, they do something to the road or the ground in front of them. Do you know what I'm thinking about? Yes, they actually put down a red carpet when somebody really special is coming. And that's to give them a nice smooth surface to walk on, and it'll be nice and soft. But also the red carpet says, this is somebody very important. And especially they put it down when it's a king or a queen that's coming. Something very unusual happened one day. Jesus was on his way into Jerusalem, and he was traveling on a little donkey that he had borrowed. And there were crowds and crowds of people, and they were beginning to recognize that Jesus was the king. And they had no red carpet there, but what they did do was they took off their cloaks and they spread them, and they spread palm branches on the ground in front of Jesus for him to travel over, because they were saying, here is the great king. They were recognizing that day that Jesus was a king. Though he was traveling on a donkey, Jesus is a king. And in fact, within a few days, do you know what Jesus was going to be doing? He was going to be wearing a crown. But it wasn't that crown on the screen. It was this one. It was the crown of thorns. Because in a few days, Jesus was going to be crucified. He was going to die on the cross. But the people recognized that he was the great king. And back in the Old Testament, here's what God said about that journey. He'd written this about 500 years earlier. And it says, see, your king comes to you, righteous and having salvation, gentle and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. And the Old Testament told us about this journey, that it was going to be the king. God says, your king is coming to you. That he is the righteous one who's absolutely perfect. That he is the great Savior who is bringing salvation. That he is also the one who is gentle. And that he is your king. Isn't that all marvelous? That Jesus riding into Jerusalem that day, he is the great King of all kings. He is the righteous one who is completely perfect. He is the Savior who is going to die to save us. He is so gentle and who loves us so much. Is he your king? Have you come to trust him? What a great thing it is today if we can say, Jesus is my great king. If you haven't trusted him yet, trust him today. We're going to play you a piece now about Jesus, and it says, he is the light.